Yo, Logitech just finally made a mouse that talks back to you. They just took my favorite product of probably the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years and made it better. I just made a video recently about my Logitech MX Master 3. Well, this is the S version, and how much I love this mouse, especially for doing things like editing, because you can do some custom tricks with your mouse. That just makes it a little bit, affordable. So when people say like they hate the Apple mouse, I'm forever suggesting grab yourself a Logitech MS Master 3S or the MX Master 3S for Mac. I'm a Mac user, right? Well, I just got my box today, so we're going to crack this baby open and take a look at the brand new MX Master 4. So first thing we need to do is bust this box open. Oh, that was satisfying. Inside here, boom, bingo bango. There it is. MX Master 4 for the Mac. Now, there has been some conversation about why you should get the PC version, blah, 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 because it does come with the unified radio and Bluetooth. I just, you know what? I'm not going to use it on a PC. I just get the Mac version always, right? And it used to be they charged a different price for the Mac version versus the regular, but now they're the same. So I got this joint directly from Logitech. I didn't go to Amazon because there's some fakes out there. So I just went direct, and lately I like to buy my stuff directly from the place that makes it. Just, I don't know why. It's called me weird, but I just like it. Let's go and take a look at the over-the-top joint. All right. So same old packaging. That's not important. Let's get into this baby. All right, there we go. So there that is. Opens up, and keeping it simple. Ooh, let me see. Can I tell there's a difference? About the same. Maybe the 4 is a tad bit heavier, and I mean like a little bit. We're talking a couple of grams, and I don't know what the heck this bottom piece is for, and maybe it's just packaging, but I don't know. My brain wants to keep it. Okay, pull this out, and what's inside here is you're gonna get a documentation, and you're gonna get a little card that I guess this is like congratulating you and telling you bought the real thing. Because again, there's definitely some fakes out there. So I'm glad you're watching this video. So if you order something from Amazon and it don't have all of this in it, you could have grabbed the fake one. And I think that's it. Now, weirdly enough, they're not shipping a cable anymore. I mean, I guess you don't need it, right? Because one thing to know about the MX Master mice, whether it's this 4, this 3, or this anywhere, or even the old version, which I have just out of reach, all of them, they do not work when plugged in. Okay, so you can charge and use it simultaneously, but don't get the false impression that that's allowing you to use it as a wired mouse, because it's not wired. You can definitely plug it in and let it charge while you're using it. And you can plug it in, having it charge connected to your computer. And for a minute, I thought it was using it as a wired mouse, but I had one that was completely dead, and I plugged it in, and I thought the mouse was broken because I was moving it around and it wasn't working. It just hadn't charged yet. So speaking of charge, this guy is going to give you about 70 days of action when you get it charged up. The difference in the two, primarily, I'm going to put the 3S on this side and the 4. Is the 3S is 4,000 DPI, or AKA 4K as they like to call it. And this is 8,000 DPI, AKA 8K. And what that means is that you'll be able to get more control without big moves across your table. That comes in handy for gaming, but it also comes in handy for precise work like editing and using photo tools and such like that. One thing that I'm going to try to point out to you, let me see, I'm moving the wrong mouse. Let me see if this makes sense to you. Now, I'm going to go through the first. This is the MX Master 3, the OG, right? Listen. And that. Okay. And this is the MX Master 3S. Well, this is actually doing things on my computer. Let me move to a spot where it's not doing anything. Now, this is the MX Master 4. Listen, nothing. Like it barely even registers on the mixer. So that's cool. Yo, This has a weird, wait a second. I just got excited. My bad. Okay. One of the things I've always hated about this mouse is it gets dirty. So I'm always cleaning it. And at this point, this one, the old rubbery coating is kind of starting to have the wear for the worse. But you see that? That's just where the finger lives, right? And because I have a beard and I have beard oil, no matter how much I wipe my hands or alcohol in my hands and rags on the table, definitely collects beard oil, and that helps takes this apart. All right. So here's my relatively new one. Like, I just got this guy, I want to say in July during my DaVinci Resolve video series. And again, like, it's already starting to get that little bit of finger mark, and that's called at what, 3-4 months? But this guy has a very slight, see that little edge is slightly transparent? There is a plastic cover on the button. It doesn't seem to come off, but yeah, they've added a little bit of a plastic style cover, which is good because it doesn't affect the feel. It feels good actually, but it'll break down less. And this no longer has that rubbery coating. It's more of a textured sort of ABS plastic. Now you do get that rubber grip here on the side, which is probably more of like a silicone thing. And then same here, and that little circle is supposed to be the haptic feedback. All right, so that's kind of cool. And let's go ahead and give it a peel. So it is made out of recycled plastic and recycled cobalt. And then there's some low carbon aluminum added in there too, for those of you who care about such a thing. So what I want to do now is connect this to the Mac. So I'm going to open up Logi Options real quick. So let's go over here to Logi Options. And then we want to come down here and click on Add Device. And I'm going to turn the mouse on. Oh, it is. Oh my God. As soon as you turn it on, it starts having a little haptic feedback in the hand, like it's pulsing in my hand. That is wild. That is a wild feeling. Let's go back over here. Let's get it twisted. So let me go ahead and turn it on. And it's doing some thinking. It just asked me to pull up the Mac Bluetooth. I'm going to go ahead and press connect in Mac Bluetooth. And now it's connected. So we should be back here in Logi Options in a second. All right, let's go back. It should do something automatically, but it doesn't. But here you see the gray one here. This is the new guy. So let's go ahead and do this. This is asking me to do some things inside system settings. It's asking me to allow accessibility to the Logitech plugin service. I'm doing that real quick. It's asking me for my password. Sorry, the screen share doesn't really show you that type of stuff, but trust me, that's what's going on. And then now we're back here. So let's click on this and say, copy the settings to your new MX Master 4. So I'll go ahead and say yes. And so it's moving my predetermined settings from the MX Master 3S over, which I should have did when I did the first one because I had all my DaVinci Resolve settings in here. Let's go to MX Master 4 for Mac, and it's showing us what it can do. So this button is for gestures and window navigation. Of course, all of these are completely editable. And then the gestures are, you hold this button down and you move the mouse in up, down, left, right directions, and you can have it do things like switch desktops, open mission control, so forth, so on, etc. Okay, so we're going to skip that for now. And then press the button to bring up the action menu. So there's a little dot in here right now that when I press it, it brings, that's play, that's new note. That's going to be great for Notion. This is Ask Perplexity. I'm going to switch that to Ask Atlas because that's what I'm feeling right now. And then you can have it do that in ChatGPT, Ask Atlas, rephrase with Gemini, go to Copilot so you can pick which one it works on. I can lock the screen. I can open Logi Options. I can do a screenshot, which is cool because I'll reprogram to actually work with CleanShot X or Shotter, depending. I can have it pop emojis. Love that. And then I can have it go to Finder. All of these are really cool. Those are really cool. So we'll do some playing around with that later. You don't need to watch me set this up. But I like the fact that I can have it pop up a new note in Notion or Apple Notes. And I also like the fact that I could have it rock with one of my LLMs. I'll probably set it up for Atlas and maybe Claude. I'll do too. But yeah, that's super, super dope. So we can go past this. And then As I was doing that, by the way, when I'm pressing the little button here and it was jumping all over the place, each time I rotate over one of these guys, it's giving me a little buzz in my hand, which I think is awesome. So I got the haptic feedback. I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to put high because it might make too much noise on the table while we're live streaming. And then it's really cool because there's the action ring again. It's showing us, I had already set it up, but like if we're doing it in Photoshop, for instance, right? I can close this. Let me show you what I mean. So if I'm doing Photoshop, I can have it do brightness, contrast, exposure value, so forth, so on, etc. So I like that because that means inside your favorite editing application or something of that nature. Sorry, it's asking me to do things. So it's scanning my apps and it's not letting you see that. Let's do ready to install plugins. Why are you not showing this? There we go. All right. So it's doing some ready to install plugins and it wants to install the general plugin, the Zoom plugin, and the Final Cut plugin. So we're going to let them go. And I just reinstalled this machine, so not a lot of apps on here. But as I add other apps, I do like the fact that I could probably come back in here and see if there's already a ready-made plugin for some of our favorite apps. So no, we don't need to restart the onboarding. We can let that go. But let's take a look at Final Cut and see what it said. We can use this to pan around. We can use it to shift the wheel mode, which is like whether the wheel free spins or it has little clicks. We can do redo and undo, horizontal timeline scroll, which is one of the reasons why I love the mouse so much when I'm using it in my timeline. And then you can use gestures to navigate around. And then you can also have it pull up the action button. And so under the action button, I wonder if we can pull in some of the Final Cut ones. Yep, you got brightness up. No, that's for the computer. But yeah, you can go in here and plug these guys. So rather than doing this AI stuff, I will go in later on and set these actions up inside the action button to work with various things inside of Final Cut. So if we go inside of Zoom, what that's going to allow us to do, let's let that go. Hey, beat it. Don't do that. Every time I do that, it messes up the screen share because of the way Mac permissions work. Anyway, so if I'm doing this in Zoom, I can set these different controls up for various forms of mute and unmute. So you got like start and stop a video, mute the mic, volume up, volume down. You can set it for various hand raisings and things like that. In Safari, you can give it things to do, but these are all fully customizable. And of course, you can go here and add various applications. So I can add 1Password if I would like to. Really cool. I like this one. I could come in and add my Amran desktop, which means I can use this mouse to control my lights without having to reach over to the Stream Deck. So I can turn various lights on and off. I have various other tools that I use inside here. But again, this is not fully baked yet because of the fact I just reinstalled this computer. Not a lot of apps on here, but I do like how all of that is set up. And I'm curious as to what they're going to do with the plugins. But if we were to go and you can go to support page here and there's my global settings. I love the haptic feedback, man. It is a really, really trippy feelings. Now I don't really use Flow anymore because Apple has their own built-in universal. But what this would allow you to do is if you have a Logitech mouse and keyboard, you can basically drag to one side and it will take over the computer that's very much next to it. There's also this thing called Easy Switch, which will allow you to connect it to multiple computers in that nature as well. And again, you can fully come in here and customize now how the feeling of all these things work, including the pointer speed. So I can jack this up to really, really, oh, that's way too high. Oh my God, that's way too high. Let's put that back down at about 3,000. Maybe I had it at 4,000. All right, there you go. So now I don't have to move the mouse so much to get all around my screen. So that's pretty cool. You can adjust that. And again, if you want to turn that off so it's not so crazy, then you can do that as well. So I love the fact that you have so much control. And I guess that's one of the things about this app. Oh, here we go. You can actually adjust that speed and the way the pointers and everything works according to each individual app as well. So that's another cool thing that Logi Options does. At first glance, very first impressions, I'll do a full detailed review later once I go in and set up all of my actions that I had going in before. But at first glance, I'd have to say that this is very awesome. I love the feel of it on the table. I love how smooth it is. I love the fact that the clicks are quiet now, because even with the SM7B, sometimes when I'm making a video, you can hear the mouse clicking, but now you don't get to hear that mouse click anymore. It's, yo, that's pretty silent, fam. That is pretty silent compared to this, which was a big upgrade from the old one. Yo, that alone, dude, that quietness is probably worth the upgrade. But if you have not already used an MX Master mouse, trust me, it is one of the biggest game changers when it comes to mouse. I even travel with the little bitty one for my portable situation. I hate when I have to use a computer that doesn't have this mouse. So now I can take the really, really old one and stick it in a travel bag or add it to the Pelican case for when I'm doing the travel work stuff, because this guy is incredible. So once again, Logitech has changed the game. They've added a bunch of cool features. I really like the action ring. I do like the speed scroll test. Like, you know, let me see if I can show that off. I think I showed this in my other video, but let me see if I can pull this up real quick. There we go. So what the scroll thing does is I can move really slow, or I can just, you know, kick it really quickly and scroll up and down a long page just by throwing the mouse, right? And I love that. But I like how it has a little bit of grip to it when you roll it. Now you could also press the smart button, which keeps it together when you're going slow. But if you scroll fast, it allows it to move quicker. So it kind of does like an exponential type situation. I love the noise is really good. I just like the way it feels in the hand. And it also feels as if some of the plastic parts have been kind of, you know, removed from the situation. So my final verdict is I love the way it feels. I like the way it sounds. It feels good in the hand. I like some of the upgrades with the materials. Like, it just feels a little bit different, but it's still there. You can still tell the quality is there. A lot of new products are being released that seem to be of substandard quality from the product that came before it. This is a very decent upgrade. Again, I'll rock a full video later. And if you haven't checked out my other MX Master 3 videos, there is one about how I use it to make DaVinci Resolve just do more things. And that applies to Final Cut or any other app that you use. It's about going into Logi options and making some of those adjustments. But I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I don't know who needed to hear this, but if it was you, let me know in the comment section below. And right about now, the algorithm is going to show you another video I think you should watch. And I agree with it.
I need to know everything. Who and the what and the where. I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George. I hop in the Porsche. It's 5 and a horse. I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats and turn to a ghost. I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk.